Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Maria, and we are going to talk about this post that I saw the other day that, of course, triggered me because, I don't want to hurt a dog. And most importantly, I want you guys to not get ripped off and to know what you're shopping for. So this is kind of like a buyer beware type of situation. And let me show you the post. I wound up just messaging it to myself. And let me add it to our recording here. Okay, now this is touted as a challenge, Start Vagus Nerve Reset Challenge. Unlock your dog's natural calm with the Vagus Nerve Reset Challenge. And I was like, okay, this is some woo-woo stuff, okay? I don't know what's happening. And this just seems too easy and too just, I don't know. There was something missing. Didn't feel right about it. Let me play this.
Loving a reactive dog won't fix their reactivity. In the next 35 seconds, you'll see how to break your dog's reactivity.
Okay, I'm going to stop every few seconds. So here we go. These dogs looks like they're maybe muzzled, which is great. But when you have two reactive dogs, the last thing you do is bring them face to face in the same room and try and get them to get along. That is a recipe for disaster. You need to introduce the dogs at a great distance, if at all, in the beginning. You want to work a program of desensitization and what we call successive approximations, meaning we are going to take small little steps, little increments of behavior and reinforce those. So, for example, your dog gets worked up when they see another dog down the street. You're not going to go on that walk and make sure you see that dog. You're going to go on the walk when you know that dog isn't being walked by their owner. People are pretty predictable. And you need to figure out what that schedule of that dog is. And then you take your dog out and you start working on a program of watch me. Teach your dog to watch me while you're walking. You build up that and make that reinforcement of that behavior really, really strong. And then slowly you add in the distraction or the trigger of the dog that triggers them, but not like this. Let's see what is the distance? What is the breaking point? You go out, you take your dog out. When they see that dog, is the dog 20 feet away from them, 30 feet away from them, 50 feet away from them, 100 feet away from them? I don't know. Can you see the dog anymore at that point? You can. It's not that far. But my point is that we want to set your dog up to be successful. So you don't want to bring them to that point where they're reactive. You want to bring them to the point where they're not reactive. That dog is still around. They know that dog is still around. But you're doing watch me, your dog's watching you, and you're reinforcing the dog, your dog, and you're walking away. And you do a gradual program like that, okay? Let's get back to this video. Also, this song is, yes, it's very annoying. Somebody said this song is so obnoxious. It is very annoying. But this is brilliant marketing.
Liberty cycle through a vagus nerve reset. I used to think I was doing everything right. Treats, belly rubs, and more strokes. But no matter how much I spoiled Buddy.
Okay, it's very interesting to see that they are viewing treats while the dog was actually being really good. So they were reinforcing good behavior, ironically. So you've got treats and touch, which is great. They're petting. They are loving their dog, but is it in an unhealthy type of way? Who's to say? They're just using these as examples.
His reactivity. I even tried a professional dog trainer. And yes, Buddy listened to the trainer, but not to me.
that means your trainer sucked. Because, of course, the dog is going to listen to a trainer, even if they're a crappy trainer. 9 times out of 10, your dog is going to listen to that person for multiple reasons. They are new, they are coming in and probably trying, if they're aversive trainers, are trying to, just take control of the situation. Or they have treats and the dog is curious. And there are a lot of different reasons why the dog is listening to the trainer and not you. But the most important reason is that the trainer did not teach you, the pet parent, the human, the other part of the equation, the most important other side of the leash, as it were, how to do it, how to train. Okay.
His anxiety.
I just wanted to show you. Well, this is an intact dog, so that's interesting. The tails are pretty high. And again, introducing dogs head to head when you know you have a reactivity problem is a recipe for disaster. I don't even think this dog here has a collar on. Choke chain. Okay, we're going to get deeper into this. Remember, buyer beware.
Behavior. Take the quiz now and see for yourself.
You guys want to take the quiz with me? Okay, so I went through, there's 4 modules, and within each module, there's anywhere from, I don't know, 5 to 10 different steps or short videos, which is good, easy consumption. However, there is nothing about the vagus nerve. They talk all about positive reinforcement training. I have not seen anything on their site, or not on their site, on their within that module or modules that I did or that I breezed through, that say, hey, you need to use a shock collar or pinch collar or a choke chain. Okay, so let's go here, because this is where I found this. Okay, I found them on Instagram. Check it out.
Yes, but only if the dog responds to voice commands and walks calmly without pulling on the leash. But if it's a puppy and you're just starting training, a retractable leash is not suitable. Only a regular soft leash is appropriate. No, it's not suitable for everyday use, but it is used for blind dogs, as well as for specialized work only on.
Oh my God, why would you use a shock collar on a blind dog? You would use a vibrating collar. Also, something that I saw in a lot of different reviews is that people are saying that everything is AI videos and, the verbiage and all that stuff. It does look a little sketchy. But just, again, buyer beware. Like, you're not getting a personalized trainer. This is work at your own pace, which is totally cool. That's great. Work at your own pace. I love it. Take it in as you go. However, there's no vagus nerve stuff going. Anyway, let me keep going back. And you're not going to use a freaking shock collar on a blind dog. What are you going to use, Maria? Let me tell you. What we're going to use is a vibrating collar, or they can hear. So you've got that. If you have a dog that is deaf, a vibrating collar works really well to kind of get their attention, so to speak. But you don't have to use shock collars. You don't have to freaking use shock collars. Under a professional, a specialist, what kind of professional or specialist is going to say, here, put a shock collar on your dog? You know what kind? Somebody who is not using force-free methods.
Under the supervision of a specialist. No, in my practice, I haven't encountered a single positive case. Yes, I use a muzzle for various purposes. It's not a bad thing.
Correct. Muzzles are not a bad thing. They help keep everybody safe. However, you are not bringing dogs face to face that are reactive and muzzle them and let them go, or like in the first video, have them in very close proximity, because they wind up creating the behaviors, or I'm sorry, they wind up practicing the behaviors.
The only important thing is to properly train the dog to get used to it. No, for basic obedience training with a puppy at the beginner level, it isn't necessary, because there are many techniques and exercises that allow you to manage without a prong collar. But this equipment can be useful under the supervision of a specialist for behavior correction, if
Why? Under what does specialist mean?
needed.
Okay, that was that. I'm going to close that out. I did do like a little bit of a deep dive on the vagus nerve, because I had never heard of it as a being used as a treatment or a I don't know, methodology to help solve reactivity problems. So whenever there's something that comes across YouTube or Facebook or any of the other platforms, and I'm like, I've never heard of that. I wonder why. And then I start looking it up. And there are not any of the behaviorists or uh, uh, veterinary behaviorists or any of the trainers that I've studied under or anything. As a matter of fact, you can't find anything in their literature about it at all. Now, do I think that massage and calming behaviors and teaching your dogs to calm and click to calm, like using your clicker to click your dog when they're in a calm state, when they take a breath? People think that's crazy. That's the beauty of clicker training, is that you can mark very specific, very minute behaviors, okay? So I also am a big proponent of massage, or there's also Tellington touch, which is a very specific method of massage by a woman. She developed it. Her name is Linda Tellington. And most of it is the way, the direction of your hand. And you're also massaging, basically, you're massaging pressure points, acupressure points. And those are very valuable. And yeah, they're going to calm you down. Tony's playing with one of his toys. And they're going to calm you down. Now, I also went and I looked up other things, of course, on the interweb. And I just, again, I kept coming across things from PawChamp that were just very fishy. Nothing that was like, I don't think it's a legit program. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, I like to see studies on things. I am a science person, especially when it comes to behavior and our animals and our pets, and the relationship that we have with them. Some of the studies that I found for the vagus nerve stimulation studies were very small sample sizes. So, like, one was 12 dogs, one was 30 dogs. In the 12 dog study, they lost 5 dogs. 5 dogs died. So, I mean, vagus nerve stimulation is typically an internal electrical stimulation process that goes on. It is something where a device is surgically implanted under the skin. And I'm not saying the vagus nerve isn't important. I mean, obviously, hello. It is very important. But I just don't want people to fall prey to just getting duped into thinking that if you do massage, whether it's T-touch or vagus nerve or acupressure or acupuncture or any of these things, that is not going to take away your dog's reactivity. It is not going to it's not going to transfer over outside. The biggest problem with reactivity, well, there's many problems with reactivity, but the biggest problem that I see with my clients is, before they call me, they're like, maybe they're working with a different trainer or they saw something online and they're introducing their dogs way too fast, or they're bringing their reactive dog to the dog park because they heard that's a great place to socialize them. Hell no, stay out of a dog park if you have a reactive dog. Leave the dogs that are like regulated alone. That's not a place to socialize your dog. It's also not the time to socialize your dog. You want to socialize your dog, you need to socialize them when they're puppies, during their critical period of socialization, which, if you look at the studies, actually begins at 4 weeks of age, before we even have them. So the social period for our puppies starts there. That critical window closes at around, I believe, 6 weeks, but it's a gradual buildup of socialization when they're little. So even though that critical period closes before we get them, we can still socialize them. We can get them into puppy classes with age appropriate other puppies, and everything is age appropriate. The age appropriate thing with puppies is super important. So they're on the same playing level. They're pretty small size, and they have the same puppy teeth. So you're not going to get, an adult dog with adult teeth and a puppy with puppy teeth. We want the puppies to be able to kind of practice on one another and practice that bite inhibition type of thing that they may or may not have been able to get if they were taken or sold or adopted or what have you, whatever their situation is. If they were taken from their mom and their litter mates way too young, like at 8 weeks of age, the dogs need that. The puppies need that. We cannot teach them this in that same effective way. It takes longer to teach. It's so much easier when you have another dog teaching them. So, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place, but let me go back here. Vagus nerve. This article I found, these are animal chiropractors, and understanding the role of the vagus nerve in pets. You can read this. I can link this down below, but basically they're saying if your animal has a problem, or is it if you suspect there is a problem, your dog could be, let's see, if you notice issues with your pet, such as excessive vomiting, coughing, sneezing, and droopy face, or a droopy face, not eating as usual, excessive drooling, tongue constantly hanging out to one side, or difficulty lifting its head, and or walking with front paws, these can be signs of a vagus nerve dysfunction. So it's a very specific nerve.